Singapore stands to gain 198.3 billion Singaporean dollars from AI by 2030, but talent shortages and weak investor confidence could slow progress. Joining us to expound on this are Associate Professor Chai Kahin of NUS and Glenn Ray of Black Box Research. Welcome, Kahin and Glenn. So what sectors hold the biggest potential for Singapore's AI-driven growth? Let's start with this.
Well, I think the first thing to say is that while the opportunity is economy-wide, it won't be evenly spread. And the data that we've seen shows that financial services, specifically in the area of fintech and professional services, are the current frontrunners in terms of confidence and investment. And regulatory technology, or RegTech as it's known for short, is emerging as a potential critical niche for Singapore. So we do a lot of work with the Singapore Business Federation here at Black Box. And in the National Business Sentiment Survey in 2025, we found that business growth confidence is highest within the banking and insurance sectors, as well as other related financial activities sectors. So these sectors told us that they're actively prioritizing investment in new tech. And in fact, 1 in 3 of them overall are prioritizing investment in AI in the next 12 months. In the work that we do with SBF in the Business Sentiment Survey, we actually found that education is one of the highest sectors in terms of hiring confidence at the moment. So I think this could all match up quite neatly together, where if the education sector is gearing up to train the AI literate workforce of the future, then education can certainly become a secondary supporting growth lever at the same time.
We have to recognize that AI is a very versatile general purpose technology. So it will influence every sector in Singapore. The difference lies in the scope and timing. Some will be sooner than later, and some will be big, and some may be less profound. To me, the biggest near-term gains will come from industry with strong digital foundations. Finance is one such good example. The finance sector contributes about 14% of our GDP, is highly digitized, and can use AI to improve risk assessment, strengthen fraud detections, and many other areas. 2 other possible sectors for quick gains: professional services and the Infocom sector. Overall, I expect a significant productivity uplift across the economy, particularly in data-centric work. This will occur in all sectors.
So with the current AI talent shortage that we are experiencing in Singapore, how can we overcome this?
To me, there are 2 types of talents needed in this coming age of AI. First, the tech talent. These are people at the frontier who can build new AI tools or customize models for the firm's needs. The second type of talents that we need is the domain experts, professionals with deep sector knowledge and enough AI literacy to apply the technology effectively. But also, crucially, these domain experts will be the one who knows the limits of AI. And to me, the fastest and most sustainable way to address the shortage is to train our existing workforce. We must build on what they already know, help them integrate AI into daily work.
What we're finding is that at the junior talent level, technically, they're pretty sound, actually. They've studied well, they've got all the technical expertise they need, but the problem is they lack a little bit of industry knowledge. So they don't know how financial systems or regulations really work, and therefore a lot of their technical skills and knowledge is probably being used in the wrong way or remaining untapped a little bit. And then as you look at more mid to senior talent levels, they have experience, but sometimes lack the soft skills. So the agility and strategic thinking to manage teams. So in this sense, we might not need to really worry about teaching coding skills or Python. What we really need to teach is technopreneurship. So create more business savvy innovators to close that gap between the coders who can't sell and the managers who don't understand the tech. And really, I think it'll take kind of a philosophical shift. Our research emphasizes that the question isn't so much employment, it's employability. So it's not about putting bodies in seats. We need professionals who can bridge the gap between a line of code and a business outcome, really.
Now, in terms of policy or even industry actions, what are most urgent to capture this 198 billion SGD opportunity?
The broader question maybe comes back to a need to move a little bit away from academic-led initiatives and maybe look more towards the private sector and partnerships between the two. So one key action point would be to operationalize more public-private partnerships. The fintech professionals we've been speaking to were almost unanimous in telling us that partnerships with universities and training providers were the most effective government intervention to help in terms of upskilling fintech professionals. But the caveat to that is that we shouldn't take too academic an approach. Rather, the professionals told us that practitioner-led certification would be more valuable. So that means the curriculum needs to be designed by the people building the AI, and not just those theorizing about it. Another action point that would help is providing businesses with more support to develop their human capital and with their cash flow. So if the government could find a way to inject money into the ecosystem, into the economy, into the ecosystem to support small businesses' cash flow in particular, that would be useful. Building a trusted AI hub would really address the primary anxiety of the market. And policies that standardize data privacy and create more regulatory sandboxes would be essential to let companies experiment in a safe way, really.
3 groups of players come to my mind: the companies, the government, and the universities. For companies, it is very clear that top management needs to establish a clear AI purpose and then act swiftly on practical use cases, starting with quick wins, fostering disciplined experimentations, and recognizing that not every attempt will succeed. It is also important to ensure that everyone in the organization is trained in data and AI, so the organization adopts a common language and mindset. For the government, its role is to build trust and enable growth, ensuring AI systems are safe, fair, and transparent, and support the industry through agencies like SkillsFuture Singapore and IMDA in training the workforce. Last but not least, universities like NUS, we must collaborate with industry and government on workforce training, applied research, and AI governance.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Kahin and Glenn. Looking forward to having you both back on the program.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Once again, those were Associate Professor Chai Kahin from the NUS School of Continuing and Lifelong Education and Glenn Ray, Head of Strategy and Marketing at Black Box Research. For more news, visit sbr.com.sg.